Պատերազմն հայտարարել, պատերազմը ստննականը։
1 year has passed since the end of the 2020 Karabakh War, which resulted in more than 4,000 casualties on the Armenian side, with many more wounded and disabled. The year following the war was tumultuous for the region. Internal political instability in Armenia, continued violence on the new borders between Armenia and Azerbaijan, and evolving uncertainty. On November 9, 2020, a ceasefire agreement between Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Russia was signed, which put an end to the bloody war in Karabakh. According to the agreement, Armenia and Azerbaijan agreed to exchange prisoners of war and bodies of the dead. The Armenian forces were to withdraw from territories surrounding Karabakh by December 1, 2020. Approximately 2,000 Russian peacekeepers were to be deployed to the region for a minimum of 5 years, one of its tasks being protection of the Lachin corridor, the only remaining passage between Armenia and Karabakh. Armenia and Azerbaijan agreed to open all regional communications. A special clause was included about a transport communication between mainland Azerbaijan and its exclave Nakhichevan via southern Armenia. Following Armenia's defeat, hundreds of angry and shocked Armenians marched to the streets. One part of the crowd broke into the office of the Prime Minister, another one into the Parliament building. The Parliament Speaker, Ararat Mirzoyan, was beaten by a crowd. Until December 1st of last year, Armenians were able to visit Karabakh region, especially the medieval Armenian monastery of Dadivank, before it became under Azerbaijani control. Azerbaijan took control of the Lachin region too, although the town of Lachin remained under the control of Russian peacekeepers because the road linking Karabakh with Armenia passes through it. In Yerevan, in the meantime, a threat of a civil war was pending when angry citizens took to the streets. Families were crying for their fallen soldiers and husbands, and mothers asking, "Where are the missing soldiers?" On December 15th, Armenia and Azerbaijan exchanged the first group of prisoners of the war. A group of 44 Armenian prisoners had returned to Armenia after Russian mediation. A Russian military aircraft also flew a group of 12 Azerbaijani prisoners to Baku as part of the same swap. In violation of the November 9th agreement that was calling the warring parties to stop at their positions as of the time of the signing the agreement, Azerbaijan attacked and took control of the villages of Khatabert and Hintagher in Hadrut region, weeks after the ceasefire agreement. 73 Armenian soldiers were taken prisoner around these villages. Azerbaijan made these prisoners of war a bargaining chip to force Armenia to make concessions. In mid-December, the conflict moved from Karabakh to Armenia. Tensions were running high in the southern part of Armenia in the Syunik region. Residents protested against the visit of the Prime Minister Pashinyan to the region. A controversy around the process of demarcation caused security concerns for many. Representatives of Azerbaijan have demanded 12 houses located in the village of Shurnugh be transferred to them. The Azerbaijani side says that these houses belong to them, as they are located on the east side of Goriskapan Road, which had been passing through the former Soviet Azerbaijan administrative territory, now under Azerbaijani control. As of November 2021, Armenia and Azerbaijan failed to start a border delimitation and demarcation process. On January 11, 2020, for the first time since the end of the war, the signatories of the agreement, Ilham Aliyev, Nikol Pashinyan, and Vladimir Putin, met in Moscow. Following the talks, they made a joint press appearance and released a 4-point agreement to create a list of joint projects aimed at unblocking the region's communications infrastructure. The domestic political tension continued in the country. Some opposition parties blocked one of Yerevan's main streets for about a month, demanding the resignation of Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan and appointment of former Prime Minister Vazgen Manukyan as transition Prime Minister before new elections are held. Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan and his government had been barely hanging on to power following the country's catastrophic loss in a war with Azerbaijan. Tensions between Nikol Pashinyan and the military erupted into open conflict in February, as the chief of the armed forces, General Staff Onik Gasparyan, and other senior commanders accused him of bringing Armenia to the brink of collapse. The Armenian Prime Minister has accused the armed forces of an attempted coup against his government after top military officers signed a letter calling on him to resign. The coup never happened. Instead, Pashinyan fired and replaced many of the army officials and continued to rule. Following consistent rallies for about 4 months, Pashinyan announced snap parliamentary elections to be held in June. In May, things got once again tense in Syunik when Azerbaijani forces advanced significantly into Armenian territory along the border near the Sev Lake. 30% of the lake used to be on the Azerbaijani side during the Soviet times, while 70% was on the Armenian side. Azerbaijani forces managed to go forward and take the whole lake. In May, violence erupted once again when Azerbaijani forces advanced their position several kilometers into the sovereign territory of Armenia towards the Syunik and the Gerarkunik regions. The violent events led to the death of 3 Armenian soldiers in Verin Shorja in Gerarkunik. On June 20th, snap parliamentary elections took place in Armenia. For the first time in Armenia's history, the 3 former presidents of the country, Levon Ter-Petrosyan, Serge Sargsyan, and Robert Kocharyan, were running in the elections. Nikol Pashinyan's party won a landslide victory with 54% of the votes. Only Kocharyan's and Sargsyan's parties passed the threshold to enter the parliament, among the 24 political forces. The border delimitation and demarcation between Armenia and Azerbaijan remains one of the most divisive issues. During summer months, Azerbaijan opened intermittent fires on positions in Yeresk, near the border of Nakhichevan, causing casualties on the Armenian side. In September, foreign ministers of Armenia Ararat Mirzoyan and of Azerbaijan Ceyhun Bayramov met for the first time on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly session in New York. In October, Armenia filed a lawsuit against Azerbaijan at the International Court of Justice for a violation of 6 articles of the International Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination. Armenia stated that Azerbaijan has subjected Armenians to racial discrimination for decades. During this time, the Armenians were subjected to systemic discrimination, massacres, torture, and other humiliations. The decision of the Hague Court is still pending. On November 8, 2021, an Azerbaijani security officer killed 1 Armenian civilian and severely wounded 3 others near Shushi. The situation at the borders is still unresolved, as Ilham Aliyev continues hate speeches against Armenians. The uncertainties over the future of Karabakh remain the most challenging issue, as the mandate of Russian peacekeepers is ending in 2025, although with a high possibility of extension. Azerbaijan continues to block the entrance of international humanitarian organizations into Karabakh, despite the numerous calls of country leaders and international actors.